Welcome, 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 my lovelies. Welcome back. Thank you, everyone, first of all, who watched the final episode of Hillside House, the Italian villa. Just so that you know, my client came to look at the house, see it all lit up, and check it over and everything, and she was absolutely thrilled with it, which was fantastic. Always nice to hear. And her and her husband collected it and took it back home. So it might be a little while. She has to find time to start dressing the house, the rooms. But at some point, when there's rooms dressed, then I'm sure I'll be able to get some photographs. Go and take some photographs so we can show you what it looks like lived in. So, but thank you everybody for watching, and also thank you. I should remember more really to thank the new people that have joined us. I can see my subscriber numbers going up all the time, and I just want to say thank you for joining our little miniature family, as I like to call it. So today I'm just going to really just have a little play around. It's a little, well, I'll show you first of all. We have an old Butler sink here. It's a ceramic one with a little brass hole there for the plug to go in. But it's just a nice old ceramic one, sort of creamy colour. In fact, walking down from the house to the workshop this morning, it's very wet and drizzly out there at the moment, but not too cold. But we have one of these, quite a large one, on our decking outside the conservatory. In fact, now I've said that, I shall take you guys just up to show you quickly. We use it as a planter. It looks rubbish this time of year, but during the spring and summer it's got lots of alpines and things growing in it, so it's really pretty. But it's at its worst this time of the year. I know how it feels. So yes, so this Butler sink, it's John Boy's for his new house that he's doing, or the new shop, Poppy's, which you have seen one or two videos of his so far. I am in the process of videoing the update where he's got in it. So that will be coming out whenever I have enough footage to put together, hopefully soon. But the story is that even though they have a modern kitchen, a working kitchen up above the cafe, to do all prep all their food for the customers. When they moved into the building, they did find, I'll do that again, although I don't like doing it, but they did find an old Butler sink in the house. So they thought they would use that as the second sink in the working kitchen. It doesn't matter if you don't have two sinks in your dollhouse kitchen, but as we sort of like to try and live on the edge of reality sometimes when we're working in our houses, as a lot of us do, including me myself. So they found this old Butler sink. So although the kitchen is modern, I've taken a piece of his kitchen out at the moment. Oh, there's doors on it there. It's just that's the sink they have on that unit, and this is the kitchen they've had fitted in to the shop, or to the working kitchen. But they found this, so I'm going to build a unit that sort of looks similar to this, I suppose, that fits for the Butler sink to go on, so it just looks like part of the kitchen. So it'll be an old sink but in a new unit. So I'm just going to measure and get bits of wood. I have a few boxes of shoe boxes, that's all they are, and they're full of bits of wood, bags of little wood, there's straws, there's all different things there, and also a bit heavy. I have to keep replacing the shoe boxes because lifting them on and off the shelf they start falling apart, and another box there with lots of offcuts of skirting and coving and all sorts of things. There's a piece of fence there that will be used for something at some point. So yes, so these are very handy for when you're building your own units or own shelving or anything like that. So don't throw away any little bits of wood. Keep them in a box or whatever you want to keep them in. So yes, I'll just put. It's raining a bit outside, light rain, but not too heavy. But I'll take you up the garden and show you the Butler sink we have, so you can see the real version of it. So just for a minute, get your umbrellas out or your hood, because we're going into the wet. Okay, so we'll go from the workshop, just for the people that haven't seen our garden. I'm sure lots of you have. I'll just lock that door. Just to well, there's old candles there that we use in the summertime when we're sitting with the fire pit in the garden just here. But let's go down here. We've got some Chinese paving slabs there, heavy round ones. They're named summer, winter, autumn and spring. That's what's meant to be the wording on them. But anyway, I digress. So if we come up here, see the hydrangeas are still, they're dying off now, but they're still beautiful colours. I'd love to keep them forever. Here, and here we have the same Butler sink with little. There are some plants still thriving at the moment. A little bridge there. Of course we've got to have something miniature in there. But these all come into flower. The saxifrages and different things all come into flower later on in the year. So, okay, let's go back down to there's a cat. Let's go back down to the workshop. Now, I just thought, I'm cutting away here, and I thought maybe I'd just show you what I'm doing. There might be a little tip or something that might help you if you haven't done this before or whatever. So with all these little bits of wood that I've got, the spare bits, there wasn't, I only had one piece that I could cut, the thickness of wood that I want. It's for the side panels and for the size of it. And I couldn't find another one the same thickness to cut, so I'm just using a piece of strip wood, which is what these are all from. They're all offcuts. I just saved them up, as you know. So this, I should have done this from the start, but just to show you, this piece of wood was joined onto here, so it already had a piece cut out from a previous project. So I was just going to measure and get another piece the same size as this. But just to show you, what I do first of all is the side bits as well. For a start, they're standing up. The grain goes up and down. I wouldn't cut them long ways with the grain going across. I'd always do them straight up and down. So if I actually hold this unit here, you can see I'm just doing the same as that, like that. I've left a tiny space at the top there, the thickness of the piece of wood that I want going across the top underneath the worktop. So they'll work out more or less the same size. This sink won't be sitting right next to these units. It's actually sitting next to I think a refrigerator. So it'll be down low. But it's nice if you can get it at roughly the same height, because it just looks aesthetically nice when the whole kitchen is put together. So what I would do is measure the height that I want, like so, and do a pencil mark to the height that I want, and then instead of doing another pencil mark higher up and marking it and then getting the ruler to draw the line, if you've already got a new piece of wood and you know that this edge is true because it's new, then you can just mark it the height that you want and then get a set square, we call them, Is that the same in Canada than the US and other countries? Anyway, who knows? I get so wrapped up with what I do. That's, I think, why I say who knows, who cares, because I go into quite a lot of detail. So yes, if you've got a true line there, then you can just put your set square up to the mark that you've made and draw a line. You've got to draw the line somewhere, as we say. So I would draw the line. I could just cut the whole piece off there and cut that little bit off as well, but it just wastes that piece of wood. You might want to use that for another project. So I just go up to there and then cut in. So if you're another thing, once you've got your line and you're going to cut it, I wouldn't cut along the length of the grain to start with. I'd always cut across the grain to start with, first of all, score that and cut it, and then cut along the grain. If you cut along the grain, sometimes it can split the wood easier. So I would cut across the grain first. And if I set the square up to the line, you can then either draw it with a pencil and then take that away and use a ruler. If I use a ruler, I normally use one of these safety rulers. This one's called the Maun or the Mayan, M-A-U-N. I have no idea what that means, but that's it written there. I don't know if you can see it properly. M-A-U-N, safety ruler. But it's shaped like so. And then you can put your ruler on like that, and you can hold it in the middle there and put your fingers down, and then when you're cutting with a scalpel or an X-Acto knife, you're not near the blade. If you're using a normal ruler like so, then your blade is level with your fingers. So if you come off onto the ruler, you will have an accident, and we don't want any of those. We don't like accidents. So yes, so either use a safety ruler. If I'm using a safety ruler and I'm cutting already small pieces of wood, if I wanted to cut this or something thinner, even thinner, sometimes you might find that when you're holding the ruler might rock backwards and forwards, and it can turn quite easily because there's nothing under there keeping it still. You've only got this piece of wood. So I put another piece of wood each side, the same thickness, and then put it on like that, and then it doesn't rock, and then you can hold that down firmly and cut the piece of wood that you're wanting to cut, and your ruler stays in place. So let me just check which is the bit of wood that I've cut. Yes, that's the piece that I want to keep. We'll put that on the sink, and these are spare bits, and this is the bit that I've just cut off. So also, and the other thing I was going to say, if you're not using a ruler, use the set square, line it up with the mark that you've made, and then hold the set square down like so, and then your fingers aren't anywhere near the cut at all, and you can just cut across like so, holding onto the set square. That's even safer, like so, and it's quite firm, and it doesn't move or tilt or anything. When I'm cutting the pieces of wood, what I normally do, if I move this away so you can see it easier, what I normally do is nick down the front section of the piece of wood where I'm cutting to, just nick down like that and just cut it a few times, so you've made a little mark in that join there instead of going from the back to the front. If you score right from there from the start and just start scoring, it can split these fragments of wood, and they can split out from the as you're cutting. So if you just cut down and just make a little nick in there first, and then start going in, and I'd go in lightly, especially with 3mm wood like this. I'd go in lightly and just score it first instead of trying to go in deep, because your blade can go off centre, and you could end up cutting in or that way. So if you score a couple of times, just nice and soft, and a bit deeper, and bit deeper, and then you get a nice flat straight side. And then when you've done that, then cut lengthways if you're cutting into a piece of wood that you want to cut away the rest of it. So that's that really. That's the way I do it. Then measure it, mark it, hold this, nick it there first of all, and then score. Then you can get the safety ruler, put that down and score down lengthways. It's always easier to cut with the grain. That doesn't take as many passes. When you're cutting across the grain, it takes more passes to do. And I've put a brand new blade in my X-Acto knife. Every time I start any piece of furniture or wood cutting, I just throw the old one and put in a new blade. Half-worn ones or whatever take ages to cut through, especially if it's thick wood. If it's thin wood, you know, sort of a millimetre or 1.5 millimetres, it's much easier to cut, obviously. Right, so I can put that away. And I need to measure the width of this, which was 4.5. So measure this, 4.5. Oh, I've done that there, measured it 4.5. I know this line is true. And I do have a whole set of set squares, and they go a smaller one than this, then a bigger one, then a bigger one still. It's nice to have a whole box set. But I can line this up like so. And to cut, there we are. There you have your piece of wood, nice and true, nice and square. So I've got 2 of those, and they're for the sides of the unit. Then what I'll do is I'll carry on, keep these little bits, you never know, carry on and cut the other pieces, and then I can start assembling the unit. Now, if you're using a metal jig, which is what I prefer to use now, the wooden ones weren't too good really, because the glue just built up in the corners and it made things uneven when you're gluing them together. So I use a metal jig now, which is has been perfect for me so far. And any glue that dries in the corners, just get a tissue or a cloth and some 100% pure acetone I'm using, which I was told it's nail varnish remover. And it's 100% pure acetone, and it says not watered down. And when you smell it, it isn't actually very strong at all. I know some people with different chemicals and things, you wear masks if you're sensible. I just did this outside on the workbench outside to clean this off. And it dissolves all the glue and takes it off, which is lovely. But there was no bad smells anywhere, so that was good. I'm using a wood glue, Gorilla wood glue. There's lots of glues you can use, it's just one that I have. And just put my glue in a plastic lid there. I've got my little cat treat plastic lid from when the boys had a box of treats. Now they're on to something else. I'm using a cocktail stick just to put the glue on the wood to glue it together. And you can't see it now, I've just put glue on it. But the actual very, very point of the cocktail stick, just the tiny tip of it I cut off, so it gives it a sort of flat edge rather than a point. I just find personally, when you're using the cocktail stick to scrape off the bits of glue, if you use it as is, it's so fine, the point, that it takes ages to pick up the glue, because it's just a tiny thin line. All it does is spread it. If you chop the end just a tiny bit off the end of the cocktail stick, it gives you a flat surface, a bigger surface, so when you do scrape it, it seems to pick up glue. Well, it does pick up glue a bit faster than if it was just pointed. So that may be a tip to help somebody. But that's what I find anyway. The pieces of wood, I've made the carcass. I haven't made the doors. I'll make that once the carcass is built, because I can measure it. But each piece I've just wrote on it. So that says top, there's the base, sides and back I've written on. So just when you come to glue it together, you know what's going where. And round the back and the sides, I've measured a line up there, I think 5.5 millimeters, I think, or something like that. And that's when I'm going to put the strip of wood along the front of the unit, because there's a strip going across there. I'm going to copy more or less what that looks like. So to put them together, we're just going to put some glue on an edge, just lightly. Like so. And push them in together and get them nice and square. The glue on the inside doesn't really matter because once the unit's made like that, you're never going to see it. And if you do have the door open, I would guess you would put things in there. But just to actually, the cocktail stick that I cut the end off is the one that I'm using to put glue on. So I'll just do another one, just quickly. Just take that little end off. And it's flatter there. Yes, you don't have to clean it up, but just good practice. Even when I'm making something and I know it's actually going to be completely enclosed, even if you make something solid, I still clean the glue up inside. It just keeps you doing the same thing all the time. Okay, and this doesn't seem to affect my skin. I've been using it for years now, and it just dries and rubs off or washes off. So it's don't have to wear gloves for anything like that. Also, I want to say, I'll carry on doing this, but also I wanted to say, when you are using an X-Acto knife and you're pressing down on wood quite hard, it hasn't actually happened this morning or today, but over time, now and again, I do break a blade, and you're pressing down on whatever and it snaps and pings off into the air. And I just always thought to myself, well, you know, it's okay, I wear glasses, so even if it hit me in the face, at least I'm protected because I'm wearing glasses, so it wouldn't hurt my eyes. And then it made me think about people that don't wear glasses. So a lot of people would say, or a lot of people probably use the big eye protection wear, the clear plastic protection wear, but they're like goggles and they've got sides on them and they're a bit over the top for this sort of thing, I have to say. But if you, just in case you haven't thought of it, years ago, let's put this in. Years ago, oh, one moment. Yes, many years ago when I was a youngster, I for some reason I thought it would be really cool to have a look that I was wearing glasses. For some reason it fascinated me when I saw older people with glasses on. So I went into a opticians in town where we used to live and found out that you can get glasses in the opticians, the ones that they show you on the shelves. They haven't got any prescriptions in, and at that, you know, I was a lot younger then, so I didn't know all this. So I said to them if I wanted to buy them without the prescription in, just the glass, can I do that? And they said yes, of course. So I bought a pair and walked round when I went out wearing my glasses. Little did I know at the time that I would need glasses as I got older. Obviously one of those fads that some people do, you know, all different things when you're young. And I look back now and think, I don't know why, because I don't look at people because they're wearing glasses. But anyway, so if you didn't want to wear these big industrial goggle type things just to cut bits of wood, but you wanted to protect your eyes, then just buy a pair of glasses with a clear lens with no prescription if you don't wear glasses. And it just helps to protect your eyes. Just a little thought I had, and that may be of use to somebody. There we are. And I'm just going to carry on doing this. That's the base, so I will slot this in on the pencil line that I've drawn and let all that dry. And then when it's dry, then I can put this bit in at the front as well and let the whole thing dry. What I will say is, once you've put it all together, if you're a tiny fraction too long or short or whatever one way, and there's a tiny bit sticking over anywhere, if you haven't measured exactly, then once it's all dry, it's quite solid, and you can put it down on a piece of sandpaper and just slowly sand it and turn it round and sand it to get everything exactly square and even. But don't beat yourself up because one piece of wood is less than 0.5 millimetre sticking out more than another piece. It's nothing to panic about. So I'll carry on doing this and we'll get that base together, and then I'll put the doors or whatever I'm going to do with the doors at the front. I've put a couple of elastic bands around it because I've got 4 sides with wood on, so the bands wouldn't collapse it in at all. It's going to stay square and true now. And I've put the kickboard in at the front there. I'll just wipe the glue off at the front. I won't press down too hard because it will push it out of place. This with taking the end off the cocktail stick, and I know I keep saying it, but it's just something I thought of doing one day. I did mention it once in another video, but sometimes people don't see every video and they may not have seen that one. So that's my little tip for that. Comes up much quicker to take the glue off. Much quicker. There. Okay, tiny bit under there. Although that's, as I say, that's going to be standing up on the floor, so that will never ever be seen. But it's just nice to know that you've done it. There we are. So I will just leave that to dry, and then we'll go on to the next stage. Okay, so I've measured the width of the opening of the cabinet and divided that by half, and then I've cut 2 pieces of wood. I think I've just got to trim the tops off them and make them slightly shorter, but I've got the right widths. And all I've done with one side of it, so it's the hinge side of the cabinet, is just rounded the piece of wood there, so it's not square as in the middle of the door. So it's just rounded there, and the hinges will go in there top and bottom, and it just opens and closes easier. And just like most people do when they want to round the edge of thin bits of wood, it's just to scrape the wood towards them and then bring it upright like so, slope it and upright. So just do that a few times on each side. Like so. This is 2.5 millimeter wood, or 3 millimeter actually, and I'm using a 180 sandpaper. It's just a nice coarse grit there, just to do the job. If you're using too fine a sandpaper, then it takes a long time to sand it down. But there we are, that's just rounded the edge there for you, so you can see it rounded. So obviously that goes that, and the round bits on the outside, and then they're going to go into the cabinet. So I'll just take the sandpaper out and give it a shake so it's not blowing around in the room. Okay, I will leave this a little bit longer just to make sure it's properly dry. But for the cupboard doors, as I said, I'm just measuring the space in between there and there, and then halving it, cutting the 2 pieces of wood, and then obviously the height from the top to the bottom. I'll measure that just now and cut the pieces of wood to the right height, and then we can put them in. I'm going to carry on with that right now. I want to get this done because the day's going on, and I want to get the video done for you. But I will tell you a little bit later in the video some very exciting news. I can't wait. I'm very excited, but I'm just working out with somebody times and things, and then I shall tell you the next bit of news, exciting bit of news. But let's carry on with the job in hand at the moment. Right, okay. So I've painted the sides and the front bit there. I sanded it down with a fine sandpaper and then painted it again. That's fine, looks okay. So, and I've painted the doors. I was going to put the 2 doors in. I'll just lay one in like that and show you, and then another one there with the handles. And I thought it will just be, it's very much the same as the other units, which is fine, but very easy. So as I'm working away, I decided to get rid of one of the doors. Don't put the door in there, but I'm just going to have one door, then I'm going to have a wall down the centre, and then I'll put a little shelf in the middle. So this bit here, you'll be able to see in it. It'll be like what we call a cubby hole, and there'll be John Boy can put some bits on there or whatever, under the sink, things that you would put under the sink normally. So to do that, I'll take this door out at the moment. So I've got rid of the other door, don't need that. But what I've done is cut 2 little pieces of wood here, and I'm going to use those so I can put the wall on the inside of the cupboard against the 2 bits of wood, one at the top and one at the bottom, and that will keep it nice and straight and flat, and then I can put a shelf in. So to get it the wall just where I want it, where the door finishes, I've cut a small piece of wood here, and I'll lay that in there like so. It doesn't matter if it's not the full depth of the cupboard, just needs to be wide enough, and then I can glue this little thin piece of wood to the back of the wall there, on the floor. If you can see it properly, I can't really see it at the moment until it's, because I'm using my phone, I can't see the screen as clearly as a bigger screen, but hopefully you can see that. So that's I'm just using that as a spacer. That's the word I was looking for there. And I'll glue this piece of wood down, slide the spacer out, turn it over, put the spacer in the ceiling but upside down, and put the other piece of wood in and take it out again, and let those 2 bits of wood dry. And then I know they're exactly opposite each other, and the same distance across. And then when I put the door in, the door will sit against the top and bottom of the spacer, so the door won't go in anymore. It will just stay flat to the front of the cupboard. So those 2 bits of wood are doubling up for 2 different things. So like I say, I'm just going to put tiny bits of glue on here. And here we have Nigel. Hello, Nigel. You're going to walk over everything, are you? Yes. Oh, and you're purring as well. Hang on a minute. You can't. Oh, he's gone on the work. He's gone on my workbench. There you are. There was a what do you call it? A surprise visit. I can't think of what I'm thinking of now because I'm concentrating. And let's get the cocktail stick and take that glue out like so. Oops. Lovely. And then if I take that out, just pull the spacer out. Oops. And you can hopefully see what I mean, that it's in now nice and even. And then I'll turn that over, and they're in there. So the door's going on this side, so when it closes it will just close into the, I've just left a gap there, the same depth as the cupboard door itself. So when it closes it should be more or less flush with the unit. So we'll let that dry, and then I shall put the wall inside first of all before I fit the door, or will I? Let me think about that. But I'll let that dry and then we'll carry on from there. In fact, as I say, it's dark outside, and it's wet, so that's brought in Nigel, who's just now relaxing on my work table. See, the work table is clear now, no house on it yet. And down here, sound asleep, we have Georgie, just passing the evening away. So I've just painted white down the front of this piece of wood. That's the only bit that I want painted white. I've put glue in the top and bottom there. And now I can just carefully push these against, or push this against the little, there we are, pieces of wood. So you can see them on this side, and the cupboard door will go this side to cover those up. Okay. And then this side, as I say, I'll just measure and cut a little shelf to put in there. Just to add a tiny bit more detail. Why not? So I just need a thin piece of wood. Oh, perfectly that size. But I wonder if it will be deep enough. Well, I put it in nice and evenly. I haven't put it in properly, but that's just one of my scraps of wood, many scraps of wood, and it's the exact size that I need. I love when things like that happen. What I might do, I mean, I could just do it by eye, I suppose, and get it straight. What I was going to say was I could put 2 small runners down each side. Actually, that would add a bit more detail, because you would have that in a real, if it was a real shelf, you'd have something holding it up. So I shall just take my time and measure the distance that I want, and put 2 thin bits of wood going inwards, the same as I have for the for this wall, and then we can sit the shelf on it. So I shall get that done and then show you what that looks like, and then we'll put the door on. Okay, I've used the little spacer to measure where I wanted it. I don't want the shelf exactly halfway up. I've made it slightly higher so that maybe John Boy or the people that run the cafe might want to put bottles and things in there, so they want a little bit more height, and then there's a smaller shelf at the top. But very fortunate that I picked up an offcut of wood, and it actually fits where I want it to go. So now I'm just going to slot that down. And I haven't put the runners right up to the edge here. I didn't want those to show at the edge there, but when you look in, you can see there's two runners or supports underneath. So we'll just make sure that's nice, looks nice and flat. There we are. Now we just have to put the door in. So I'll let that dry before I start messing around with this and putting pins in. Make sure that's nice and firm, and I'll paint just along the edge of that shelf. I think, I don't know yet. Who knows? I haven't decided. We'll see as the journey goes along. With the hinges on the door, I'm just using normal, well, they're my dressmaking pins for my sewing. I have thousands of them. So I just cut the head off first of all, and then cut it in half. And I'm using the pointy side of the pin just to push down into the door, into the hinge. I do it by eye. It could be 1.5 millimeters in, more or less, but I don't know if you can see that. But I've just started to make the hole there. So with the pointy part of the pin, I'm just pushing straight down. Like so, to get a nice, you can see it like that, a nice depth in it, which is fine. And then I can turn it around and push that part into the door where I've made the hole, and then I can use the pointy end to fidgety, and I can use the pointy end to go into the floor of the unit. Let's just push that forward a tiny bit, just to straighten it up, like so. And then what I'm doing with this, I'm just lining it up level with the unit, and then I'm going to push it, just get it level with the front of the unit and the front there, and then just push it down into the wood and just push it home. It's going, but it's tougher than normal because it's going, there we are, it's actually going down into this bit as well, so that's nice and secure. Normally if you don't have this lip underneath, it would just go through this piece of wood here, which is also fine, and anything sticking out you can just snip off with the wire cutters. So just push that in like so. And then the top one, I'll cut it in half again because it doesn't need any more than that. So, and then we find oh, there we are. The thick bit went up my sleeve. Was that the pointy bit? There we are. And then try and not drop it on the floor. Now the pointy side with the pin, earlier on I did the same hole in the top of the top door there, just the same distance, and I'm just now going to put it in place so the door is now shut, and then I'm just going to go straight in. I can see where it is on the top of the wood, so I'm just going to push straight down into that. And I might be able to push all of that in if I'm careful. There we are. Now if I can just get my nails in there. Oh, there we are. And the door now opens and closes. And I'm going to obviously glue a handle on. I've cut a tiny bit of white. The handles, they're round, but when you look at them side on, they're sort of sticking out, the round bits, and they've got a square bit behind them, the shape of them. So I've so you can get hold of the handles. So I've got a tiny length of a square piece of wood and painted that white. That's dry now, and I can glue that. Let's move the pins out the way, and the little bits of pin that are left, I'll leave them on the box, and I can put those in the bin when I'm finished. I don't like little sharp bits lying around the workshop, especially with little kitty cats running around. So I'll just get some glue. Yeah, just using a little bit of tacky glue and just place it by eye. Oops, just see that it's more or less the same as the other cupboards. Press it down, and I will let that dry before I put the silver bit on top of that. I've just and the silver bit I've used, it's actually the same thickness, but I've used a cocktail stick. It's the same thickness as the round pieces on the door there. They may be cocktail sticks that they used in the making. I've no idea. Who knows? Right. Okay, so I'll let that bit Let that bit dry. And this is the tacky glue. This one, tacky glue does disappear when it's dry. And it's white on white as well, so it will disappear once it's dry. So I'll leave that to dry and put that on there. And then let me just get the other piece. Right, now for the top, I'm covering this, I'm not just painting it, I'm going to put a worktop on it, the same as the other units. So I've just painted a piece of wood with a black paint. It's a slight satin finish, and I've just rounded the corners off on the sides and the front in the same method as I did with the doors, but didn't do them both sides. I just did one side, so the top just comes down to a sharp edge underneath, because that's what I wanted. Now the top is bigger, slightly bigger than the unit, so I won't put the paint on the top. I'll put it on the unit because that's the only area that will need paint glue on it. I'm too excited about everything ahead of time, what I've got coming up, and to show John Boy his new Butler sink unit to go with his kitchen, as he hasn't seen it yet. He's actually here today. He's I think he's washing his car because he used it yesterday. Let's put the wood on. Now I'm just doing it flush with the back of the unit. Just put it on and then turn it up so I can see it from the front, and move the wood around until it's even on each side. Just do it by eye. And then I can put, because I have them, some elastic bands around that. Carefully. Make sure it's still nice and even when you've finished. Let's put 4 on. Well, I've got 4 here. It's all lined up. It hasn't moved. It's sticking out to the edge on each side evenly. So I'm going to let that dry. Then when we put the sink on, I'm not sure yet. Well, I probably will glue the sink on, just a little bit of glue in the middle, so it's not too hard if we want to take it off. If he wants to use it in years to come for another house, then it's okay. But I'll glue it on a little bit, and I'll put it, bring it to the front a bit, and then what I'm going to do is get one of these sort of old brassy looking kitchen taps, mixers. There we are. Not a silver one, a bronze one just suits it better. And what I'll do is put a thin piece of wood on the back there. Well, I'll cut a piece of wood, but I'll just get a thin piece of wood on the back. You won't see it because it's against the wall, and I will glue the taps onto it like so, and then I'll glue that onto the back there. So when you put the tap on, when you put the sink there, it's up the right height for the taps. If you put the taps on the work surface, then they don't even come up to the top of the and you'd have to reach down the back to put the taps on, so that would just be silly. So that's all that will be, gluing a piece of wood, arranging those in the middle there, gluing it together, glue the silver bit of the handle on the door, and then all is finished. So I won't do that on video. It's very simple, very straightforward. I'll give this, I'm actually giving an hour to dry just to make sure it's really easy to handle without pushing it out of sync or out of kilter, and then I shall show you it finished. Hurrah! In fact, I just thought, shall I go out to John Boy to his car washing and ask him to come in, and I'll put it's a dirty and manky, but it is actually clean, out the machine, but it's just an old tea towel we use for jobs in here. But I'll put that over it, and then I'll bring him in and do the big reveal. Would you like that? Just to see his reaction. And let's hope it's the same sort of idea that he had in mind when he asked me for it. Let's see. You'll see on camera. Let me. Oh, there we are. I'll just put that carefully over it, and then we'll go and get John Boy and see what he thinks. Okay, John Boy has come in. Hello everybody. And Georgie is
as well,
having a relaxing moment in here as well. So he's in for the big reveal. It's over there.
Okay.
Oh no, it isn't.
Oh yes, it is.
It's under that. Just be careful when you lift the tea towel. And it's all dried, so you can do whatever with it.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that lovely?
Are you pleased?
I'm really pleased. It matches the other unit as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Did the
really
same type of handle and everything. The door opens. I've put two little stays inside, bits of wood.
Oh yeah.
And so it won't close anymore when you push it in. It will just go to the front of the unit.
Oh, that's lovely. That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Another happy customer.
Another happy customer. Thank you.
And we'll film a bit more of your house, won't we, when you've done some more to it. We've already started a video, and you can put those pieces in place. That's right. And show everybody what it looks like in the kitchen.
Yeah, excellent.
Hurrah.
Thank you.
Hurrah.
Okay.
Thank you, and as always, for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little video. I know John, as you saw, John Boy is happy with his little piece that I've made for his kitchen, little addition. What I am planning on doing as well is, because the working kitchen is quite large, I know he would like, or wants to look for an kitchen island. And the kitchen is quite modern looking, black and white and what have you, with the silver touches. So I'm thinking I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to look at real islands, kitchen islands, and I'll maybe attempt to make him an island to go in the middle of his kitchen as a gift, as it's Christmas time. So I'll make him, so hopefully we'll see, but if I do, then I'll show you what I'm doing and how I construct it, and I'll do it as a little video for you guys to watch. So thank you very much. And I forgot, after all the time it's taken me to do this video, I know it's probably only a short one, but there's lots of gaps in between with all the ins and outs. But as I said earlier, I'm sure I did, now I've forgotten, but I think I did, some exciting-ish news. Maybe nothing too exciting, but exciting for me. I am going to be doing a live stream again, my next live stream. Yay! I know some of you guys like it and enjoy it and come on and have a chat. Which is what I absolutely love when I see people talking to each other. I love the thought that I can do anything on the internet and it actually brings people around the world together, which is just such a joyous thing to do. So I'm really looking forward to it. It will be, I have chosen a time. It will be next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, which is the 11th of December. I'll put it up here. Wednesday, 11th of December, or across the pond. Our friends over the pond say December the 11th, the other way around, which I just find interesting. It works both ways. Who knew? So Wednesday, 11th of December, the live stream. It will be 6 p.m. GMT time, our time, Greenwich Mean Time. So whatever it is with you around the world, I know I always always it's not good for our friends in Australia because they are complete opposite to us, like distance wise and time wise. And I can't work out a better time. If I did it for you guys as well, then I think everyone, most of the rest of the world is sleeping, or that's how it seems anyway. So I apologise up front for anyone that isn't able to join us. But for any that are able to join us, and hopefully some of you newbies that have joined just recently in the last month or so, thank you so much for joining our family. You absolutely no idea how much I appreciate any new subscribers. It does really mean the world to me, and it makes doing these videos all worthwhile. But any of you new guys that haven't been on the live stream before, that would be interesting, I think, for you if you were able to join us at some point during the live stream. And I will be showing on the live stream, I will be showing more ceramic vases that I have just finished making. I have to say, when I took them out the kiln and was looking at them, I've done, I think, over 40 this time. I absolutely just realised that I couldn't stop grinning. My face was aching at one point because I just was so overjoyed with them. I was just grinning and picking each one up and looking at it. They've turned out absolutely fantastic. I found not found a way, but I've managed to get a firing program to fire the vases first of all, with parts of them covered in an underglaze, and an underglaze is a matte colour. It's not actually a glaze, but it's called underglaze. But it's a matte colour, very chalky when it's finished. So I've covered parts of the vases in different areas in the underglaze, and then fired those on a special sort of firing program. Then the following day, take them all out and then put on glazes on top of the underglaze, or on the areas that haven't been covered with the underglaze. So they are an actual glaze, so they're glossy finish. And then I did another firing program, a brand new program that I haven't done before, in the firing, in the hopes that it would be absolute best for the glaze, but doesn't affect the underglaze, so the underglaze still comes out exactly as it was. I can't tell you how thrilled I am that I've managed to get these two programs to work, but the glaze itself is the brightest the colours have ever looked in these glazes that I've used in the past. They're absolutely fabulous. So hopefully some of you can come and join me on the live stream. I shall love you and leave you now, not take up any more of your time. Thank you as always for watching, and speak to you again soon, my lovelies. Take care, everybody. Bye.